Okie dokie. Throw your name on here if you haven't already. It is currently first hour. Everyone got a note sheet and something to write with? Okay. So, today we are adding and subtracting polynomials. Steps are super similar. There's one extra step to subtracting. So when we are adding polynomials, so we have two polynomials that we are adding together, we can just ignore the parentheses around them and combine like terms. Just like we did on Friday when we did 5.1, it's the exact same thing. So a reminder that like terms have the same variable and coefficients. And that when we combine them, we do, oh, I am so sorry. Stop writing. It's not coefficients, variable and exponents. People make mistakes. I'm one of them. So variable and exponents. I was getting ahead of myself because when we combine our like terms, we do so by adding the coefficients. I had my 3 vocab words, but just not in the right spots. So same variable and exponents, and then we combine them by adding together the coefficients. And I put in there in all capital letters because this is a thing that a couple people have been doing, is when you add together, you're adding the coefficients, you are not changing the exponents at all. So like 5x squared plus 5x squared is 10x squared. You don't add the 2 and the 2 that are in the exponents. So you do not change the exponents. And then there's another note there to write your answer in standard form, highest or lowest exponent. We're just going to keep writing things in standard form for the entire unit. So everything for the entire unit always goes in standard form. So we're going to look at our first one because it's an addition problem, and then we'll come back and talk about subtracting. So this first one here is an addition problem. We are just adding together the like terms. So 8x squared and 2x squared can get added together. 8 plus 2 is 10. So we would have 10x squared. Next up, 3x and this negative 5x can get added together. 3 and negative 5, same thing as 3 plus negative 5 or 3 minus 5, is negative 2x. And then negative 7 plus 3, negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. So it's just really like the combining like terms that we did on whatever day we did that. Friday. Okay. Any questions on any of that? Okay, let's talk about subtracting then. So for subtracting, we need to distribute that negative. So we are taking this entire polynomial minus this entire polynomial. So we have to remember to subtract every single thing in here. So we're going to distribute an imaginary negative 1. Once you distribute that negative, then you can ignore the parentheses and combine like terms just like you did with addition. So our first step is different, the distributing the negative, but then from there it is the exact same. So let's go look at this subtraction one. And these are going to be mixed together on your assignment, so you're going to need to pay attention. Should I be adding or subtracting? So I'm going to put an imaginary 1 right here, negative 1. I'm going to start by distributing this negative. So negative 1 times 3x, or negative 3x cubed, is negative 3x cubed. Negative 1 times negative 5x squared, a negative times a negative becomes positive. And negative 1 times 2x is minus 2x. So we have distributed that negative. From there, we then combine like terms. We're combining these 3 guys with these 3 guys, the new 3 guys. If you need to gently cross this out, you can. I wouldn't cross it out so much that you can't read it, in case you need to go back and like fix a mistake though. So I wouldn't like it out, but you like cross it out so you know you're ignoring it. Okay, so 2x cubed minus 3x cubed is negative 1x cubed. Or you can write negative x cubed there. Six x squared and 5x squared is 11x squared. And then 8x and negative 2x, 8 plus negative 2 or 8 minus 2 is 6x. Hey, any questions about those problems? Okay, go ahead and flip it over. I think we've got one more addition and one more subtraction on the back, if I remember correctly. I printed these out like 2 weeks ago. Yes, one more addition and one more subtraction. Okay, so again, you got to pay attention whether I'm adding or subtracting. So this next one I'm adding, so I can just combine like terms. I always want to go from highest to lowest, and the highest exponent I see is x to the third. So I've got 6x to the third here. Is there anything I can combine that with? No. So there's no other x to the thirds, so it just stays by itself. Then, same with the 5x squared. It would come next, but there's nothing to combine it with, so it just stays by itself. And then I've got negative 3x and negative 8x. Negative 3x and negative 8x is negative 11x. And then 7 and 1. 7 plus 1 is 8. So sometimes everything will combine, like the ones on the front where everybody had a nice little partner to combine with. Sometimes they won't. Okay. Very last one. Am I adding or subtracting? Subtracting. So I'm taking all of this minus all of this. If that is the case, the first thing you have to do is remember to distribute that negative 1. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Negative 1 times 7x cubed is negative 7x cubed. Negative 1 times 8x squared is negative 8x squared. And negative 1 times negative 3x is plus 3x. Okay, I'm going to gently cross this out. I can still see it if I need to go back to it. Okay, what is my highest exponent? Yep, negative 7x to the third. And there is nothing to combine that with, so it's just going to go at the very beginning by itself. Okay, then I'm going to deal with my 8x squareds. So I've got 8x squared and negative 8x squared. 8 minus 8 is 0. Those cancel out. They are not part of my answer. I do not write down x squared because there is not one x squared. There is none x squared. Then I've got 3x and 3x. 3x plus 3x, that makes 6x. And then I've got my minus 5 here at the end. Hey, any questions? Yes. Oh, do you have to classify them? No. Yeah, good question. Alright, so we are not classifying. We did that one day just to get you introduced to those terms because we'll use those throughout the unit, but you don't need to have them memorized. Okay, ending this video, well, you do need to have them. You need to know how to use them. You don't need to have them memorized because they'll be on your note card.